All right. Well, today we're going to be, for the second time, we're going to be going over the Log Anomalous Items Volume 1. Oh, this is going to be divided up into sections. My initial plan when this is the first time, was to do all of one volume at once and then move on to the next one. But it takes a lot longer than I was initially thinking. The audio on this video should be much better than my previous uploads for this channel. So that will be a good thing because I realized I was having issues with multiple audio sources recording at the same time. So that is fixed now. Hopefully, it will not be an issue again. So, alrighty then. All right. The SCP Foundation has discovered a substantial number of items which are simply too useless to merit further attention. This document lists those items which have been which have prompted some curiosity. It may be used as a resource should knowledge of these items become useful or necessary in the future. Dr. Blank, head researcher, Site Blank. Due to the increasing number of items discovered by the Foundation, this list is no longer open to new entries. For Azoarchival, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth volumes of this log have been made available, and the seventh remains open to new additions. List of extranormal events and unexplained locations have also been compiled. We'll do those next, after all of these. Anomalous items 1 through 10. Item description: An unbreakable lamp. Current status: kept in Dr. Wright's office in Site Blank. Notes: This was one of the first items categorized as anomalous and denied full SCP classification due to a lack of value in further research and little need for special containment. Item description: Penny, which, when flipped, always land heads up. Current status: shipped off to permanent storage. Notes: Can't believe none of the researchers kept this to win bets with. Item description: A number 2 pencil, which will balance at a 32-degree angle for approximately 3 hours before ceasing anomalous behaviors. Current status: incinerated. Notes: I'm not sure why this was an anomaly. Maybe it just had a very flat tip. Notice: Destroying anomalous items without proper permission is a major violation of Foundation policy. See this does not happen again. Site Director Blank. Item description: A painting, possibly a landscape. Records are unclear. It gave a mild case of diaphragmatic spasm or hiccups to anyone who saw it. Current status: incinerated. Notes: This would obviously be a pain to work with, but shouldn't they have at least tried to see how it worked? Notice: Destroying anomalous items without appropriate permission is a major violation of Foundation policy. See that it does not occur again. Site Director Blank. Item description: Normal garden slugs, whose trail has the exact same chemical composition and taste as commercial brand ranch dressing. They also appear to reproduce by binary fission every week. Current status: housed in a wildlife observation deck. Excess entities incinerated. Item description: Small rock that emits a bright white light from an unknown source, otherwise unremarkable. Current status: Currently in the possession of Dr. Light. Notes: No radiation, no life signs, nothing. If nothing else, it's a reminder of the inexplicable nature of the universe. Item description: A 1964 Smith & Wesson 44 Magnum revolver. With any ammunition that is fired from the third chamber, an unidentified male voice will shout, "Nice shot!" Date of recovery: 0903 blank. Location of recovery: Wichita, Kansas, USA. Current status: in storage at Site 19's Vintage Weapons Depository. Notes: Perfectly serviceable and well maintained aside from the anomaly. Accuracy or even proficiency with firearms is not required for the anomaly to function. Voice sounds whether or not the shot is, in fact, nice. Item description: A wire clothes hanger. Only long sleeve blue men's dress shirts with collar sizes between 38.1 and 40 centimeters can successfully be hung upon it. All other clothing articles simply drop off to the floor when the hanger is employed. Date of recovery 0915 blank. Location of recovery Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. Current status in storage. Item description a nuclear snow globe. When shaken, instead of falling snow, it shows a miniature scale nuclear explosion. It emits no radiation, sound, or force, and the explosion pattern changes every shake. After effects such as radioactive snow and black rain have been observed. At random intervals, snow globe will contain a small shed, car, or truck, which reacts to the explosion. Location of recovery Sokroveno, Russia. Current status in storage. Item description a squirrel which constantly moved much slower than normal, even when jumping or falling, similar to slow motion videos. Location of recovery a family campground. Current status housed in a wildlife observation deck. Anomalous items 11 through 20. Item description a cheap plastic ping pong ball that would change from red to green twice daily. Date of recovery sometime in the 2000s. Location of recovery California, USA. Current status located under a locker in storage room 19 553B. Maintenance team required to extract object. Item anomaly a white cowboy hat. Any person wearing is compelled to whoop and fox dance uncontrollably. Date of recovery sometime in the 2000s. Location of recovery Texas. Current status contained in a standard anomalous object locker brought out during staff day parties. Item description six-sided dice occasionally lands on a seven. Location of recovery Gaming Society in blank, Maryland. Current status being used for research by Dr. McCallum. Notes research my ass. He's just using the damn thing to cheat on his sneak attack damage. Dr. Morgan. Item description Coca-Cola branded and stylized Coca-Cola glass. Any liquid drunk from the glass is reported to taste like Pepsi brand cola. Location of recovery, Site 19. Current status, destroyed after being dropped by canteen worker blank. Item description, a 500 blank sidearm that discharges all loaded cartridges as if they were blanks. Current status in storage. Item description glass paperweight which constantly floats exactly 7 centimeters above any given surface. Location of recovery funeral home in blank. Current status shattered in bizarre a cappella incident. Dr. McCallum is currently being questioned. Item description a drinking glass that visually appears to be able to hold a pint, 568 milliliters, of fluid, but overflows when more than 35 milliliters is poured into it. Date of recovery 1998. Location of recovery Illinois. Current status in storage. Item description a series of pornographic VHS tapes that, when rewound, would continually change actors, set, and methods of coitus. All appear to relate to actual filmed movies, though the quality is low. Date of recovery sometime in the 1900s. Location of recovery Hackensack, New Jersey. Current status missing, presumed lost, scratched. Recently recovered from the possession of Dr. Blank, scratched, in storage. Item description a 76 centimeter tall statue of a clown. In room where it is placed, a giggling sound would be noted whenever lights were turned off. Date of recovery 05/16/2000 something. Location of recovery Germany. Current status shot approximately 15 times with a 9mm sidearm by Agent Blank. Agent reprimanded. No anomalous properties reported in the remains. Item description an adult male capybara, originally located several thousand miles away from the natural habitat for its species, with bright blue and green fur. Date of recovery sometime in the 2000s. Location of recovery Wisconsin. Identified as a lost exotic pet with blank brand hair dye, returned to owner. Class A amnestic administered. Recovery agent reprimanded. Anomalous items 21 through 30. An HB pencil which cannot be used to write and only draws photorealistic images of Jimi Hendrix eating various foods. Date of recovery 1979. Location of recovery Liechtenstein. Current status accidentally snapped during testing 1993. Portions of pencil did not retain anomalous properties and were subsequently incinerated. Item description: a 24,000 carat diamond cut in the size and shape of a common construction brick. Date of recovery 1970 something. Location of recovery South Africa. Current status in storage pending identification of source. Item description: a white cotton and polyester t shirt bearing the words SCP, Secure, Contain, Protect, on the front, and a crude but recognizable cartoon of SCP 173 on the back. The caption SCP 173, Don't Blink. Aside from security breach it represents, the item has no anomalous properties. Date of recovery sometime in the 2000s. Location of recovery thrift store, New York City, New York. Current status in storage. Item description: a wedding invitation which, every 6 hours, becomes a different wedding invitation. Thus far, all invitations have been for weddings on dates between 5 and 15 years in the past, and have involved persons found not to exist. Date of recovery sometime in the 2000s. Location of recovery a bookshop in Wales. Current status currently in storage. An investigation into locations, dates, and people involved is still underway. Item description: 16-month day planner, September 2009 to December 2010. Manufactured by the blank company, which will duplicate anything written into it across all other units. This only works for dates and time entries that have not yet come to pass. Date of recovery blank 2010. Location of recovery blank office supplies blank Florida. Current status 17 units in Foundation possession. Unknown number remain in circulation. Estimated at research personnel are monitoring new entries in an effort to locate remaining copies. Item description: an IKEA branded wall clock which seems to disappear and reappear once every second. Date of recovery sometime in the 1900s. Location of recovery Scotland. Current status disappeared at 11:24 hours GMT on blank blank 19 something. Item never materialized. Presumed irretrievable. Item description: a rubber and metal fly swatter, which, when used to kill an invertebrate, causes the user to burst into tears. Date of recovery sometime in the 1900s. Location of recovery a free clinic in Suriname. Current status in storage. Item description: a spear that, when thrown, pierces the heart of the nearest humanoid and extends several spikes from its blade afterward. Agents are to note that the nearest humanoid is typically the person who threw it. Location of recovery Ireland. Current status in storage. Ah, let's see. That's a lot like a handgun that I'm fairly certain is actually classified as an SCP object, but you know, whatever. Item description: a risk set that has a variable number of pieces appearing and disappearing as needed on the board. Sounds of battle are produced by the dice when rolled on hard surfaces rather than expected clattering. Location of recovery Oregon. Current status available in Area 43 break room for recreation. Item description: a piece of vine charcoal that causes "Someone help me, I'm trapped in the charcoal" to be written every several seconds when being used for writing or drawing. Location of recovery Scotland. Current status in storage. Anomalous items 31 through 40. Item description: a bottle of leg blank brand perfume, which attracts cats in a 1 kilometer radius when used. Discovered after a gathering of over 4,000 cats caused a traffic jam in downtown blank. Current status: stored in an airtight container. Low value item storage. Site blank. Item description: an upright piano. The human touched any of the piano keys, the human became irresistibly compelled to play the piano and sing popular Broadway show tunes for a period of 3 hours, or until the player was incapacitated. It is to be noted that the item did not provide musical talent, knowledge of tunes, knowledge of lyrics, or the ability to sing on key. Date of recovery 04/28, 2000 something. Location of recovery Recreation Center at Foundation Site 33. Piano had been at that site for several years, but its unusual properties did not manifest until incident data expunged. Current status disassembled by sledgehammer during containment breach, resulting detritus incinerated. Residual ashes evidence no unusual properties. Item description: a number 2 pencil that, when used, causes the writer to unknowingly make spelling errors. Spelling errors can be corrected using the pencil. Date of recovery 06 blank 2000 something. Location of recovery Site 19 supply cabinet. Current status accidentally destroyed. Materials demonstrated no unusual properties. Notes: are you sure the person who reported this wasn't just really bad at spelling? Item description: a white plastic halo which will shine and float when above anybody who has not committed any of the seven deadly sins. Glow red when placed above anyone else. Current status melted itself down after being placed above Dr. Blank's head. Item description: $13 bills ranging from $1 to $20 that scream loudly when placed next to foreign currency. Date of recovery sometime in the 1900s. Location of recovery a bank. Don't even put it in that. If you're not gonna give a name for the bank or a location from the bank, then just literally don't even just redact the entire thing. Current status shredded and paper shredder. Strip showed no anomalous properties. Item description: snow globe containing an 11-second time loop of a snowman murdering a bystander with an axe. Date of recovery 12/25 2000 something. Location of recovery ski resort, USA. Current status on researcher assistant Goldshiner's desk for aesthetic purposes. Item description: a blank brand bobblehead that, when bobbled, causes the user's head to bobble with it. Can create neck injuries if bobbled too hard. Date of recovery sometime in the 1900s. Location of recovery Seattle, Washington. Current status on Dr. Roget's office desk, scratched, in Dr. Roget's office safe. Item description: an early 19th century cannon of Russian manufacture. Cannon will prime, load, and fire blanks, with no visible source of powder, if the finale of Tchaikovsky's 1812 overture is played within audible range of the artillery piece. The timing of the shots is slightly off and inconsistent with the music. Location of recovery Napoleonic Wars exhibit, a museum. Maintained as a lawn ornament on the staff garden at Site 12. Tchaikovsky's 1812 overture added to the site blacklist of restricted materials. Item description: a glass dinner plate, 11 inches across. When organic material is placed on the plate, it begins to secrete digestive enzymes, mainly proteases and cellulases, which produce foul-tasting waste products with an unpleasant appearance in food. Date of recovery sometime in the 2000s. Location of recovery Site 19 cafeteria, discovered by junior researcher Blank, who initially believed the kitchen staff were attempting to poison him. Cur- Current status currently under investigation by Dr. Blank. Item description: a white coffee mug that, at 3 a.m. local time, will replace all fruit juices in its interior with grapefruit juice. Date of recovery sometime in the 2000s. Location of recovery Minnesota. Current status in the possession of research assistant Jacobs, scratched, in storage. Notes: effect has consistently failed to manifest after R.A. Jacobs filled the item with grapefruit juice 19 days after recovery. Anomalous item. Anomalous items 41 through 50. Item description: a pair of cordless headphones that constantly play songs by the Beatles, despite the lack of music or energy source. Location of recovery: concert at California, USA. Current status in storage. Item description. A ballpoint pen. Decimal points in numbers written with the pen periodically move for the next 315 days. Date of recovery 1103 2000 something. Location of recovery Accounting Department at Site 11. Current status stored in low value item wing of storage site 23. Item description a computer file with the name tilde dfff1c.tmp. The file has a negative file size of -2 bytes. Its presence on a storage medium increases the space available. Copies of the file retain this property, but editing the file changes its size to 0 bytes. Date of recovery 05/21 2000 something. Location of recovery Dr. Blank's home computer. Current status stored in Dr. Blank's computer with several backups on portable media. Three-sided item description a three-sided die. No matter how it is observed, subject will report that it definitely has three sides, despite this being physically impossible. Date of recovery sometime in the 2000s. Location of recovery a tabletop gaming convention in Redacted. Current status sliced in half yielded two one-sided dice. You can make a three-sided die. Its sides won't be of a standard shape, but you can make a three-sided die. Just like you can make a two-sided die. It's very dumb, but you can do it. Item description an adjustable height stainless steel floor fan of unknown make and manufacture. The fan will only function when exposed to music written by an artist or artists that no person within hearing range have knowledge of. Date of recovery 1977. Location of recovery Jacksonville, Florida. Current status in storage. Item description pound cake that emits the sound of a young girl laughing when being cut. Date of recovery 2012. Location of recovery bakery shop in Wyoming. Current status kept in cold storage at Site 17. Item description a slate sculpture of a human hand and section of a forearm, standing approximately 0.5 meters tall and weighing 50 kilograms. The object's orientation cannot be changed and acts as a perfect compass, the thumb always pointing due magnetic north. Date of recovery 2012. Location of recovery raid on a Marshall Carter and Dark Limited warehouse in London, UK. Current status staff gardens at Sector 25. Oh my gosh. What's that? Notes accompanying recovered documentation hints that MC&D was having difficulty finding a buyer for the object. Item description a 235 kilogram blank brand moped. While traveling at speeds in excess of 30 kilometers per hour, it displays inertial qualities consistent with an object of significantly higher mass, generally between 350 and 600 kilograms, depending on speed. Date of recovery 1999. Location of recovery Germany. Current status in storage. Item description a large whiteboard. Should a subject write a problem on the whiteboard, it will immediately begin to form a chart organizing the information pertinent to that problem. The object will then form connections between the information and attempt to come up with a solution. However, it will also write comments regarding the subject's intelligence and physical appearance. These are almost always derogatory. Location of recovery, Texas. Item description a blank 1208 cell phone with exactly 2 bars of reception at all times, regardless of location, situation, or condition of the phone. Other functions do not differ from normal cell phones. Location of recovery blank village, Astrakhan district, found in possession of data redacted. Current status in storage. And that is where we will end this for today. So it's basically gonna be broken up into 5 sections, probably for each volume. Uh, make it a little simpler on me and a little easier on you guys if you're listening to these. Uh, and yeah, I will see you guys again in the next one. So have a good day. Bye.